driving home. Are we recording? Mm-hmm. All right.
Surprise.
Good job, producer.
In action.
While I was talking. Excellent. This is what we wanted to record anyway. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Because of Eli. We are recording at Frosted Nug Productions. This is our general trigger warning. This podcast discusses death, child loss, suicide, self-harm, mental health, and different parts of grief. We are not trauma professionals, therapists, psychologists, or psychiatrists. We offer no professional advice. We are just two friends with a lot of life experience who want to help others. Welcome to Because of Eli.
Welcome.
Hey, welcome, Amy.
Thank you. So I'm going to introduce myself. My name's Amy. I'm a grieving mother. This podcast was born out of grief. My son Eli died on March 21st, 2025. He was just 20 years old. I am a registered nurse. My background's in corrections, substance use disorder, public health, and psychiatric nursing. Mental health care has been my passion throughout my career, and I'm always advocating for my patients in the community. So would you like to introduce yourself, Erica?
And I'm Erica, also a registered nurse. And through most of my nursing career, I've worked within the world of death and dying. Not a grief counselor or bereavement specialist. However, with my certifications in hospice and palliative care, I study grief and bear witness to it in the most awful times for families. And through my experience, I'm often asked for advice when someone's going through a loss. So here I am to share what I've seen and experienced.
Thank you. So what have you done for yourself this week?
Ooh, good question. So this week I got together with a group of friends to go out for sushi. And I've not always been a sushi fan. Mm-hmm. Like when I was pregnant with my first child, I actually started hating sushi. Like the idea of putting sticky rice in my mouth was like, nope, morning sickness, done. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even matter. I didn't have to eat it. I just had to think about it. So now that child who's 20 loves sushi. And so we've gotten it more often and had it from time. So now it's like growing on me. Mm-hmm. And I have a group of friends who've been like just really bugging to go to all you can eat sushi. Mm-hmm. So we've had like this group chat about it. And like way back in January, it was like, okay, it's Erica's birthday. It's Joey's birthday. We're going to go out for all you can eat sushi and we're going to make this happen. And I was like, okay, great. Somebody pick a date. And so 3 weeks ago,
from January,
two of us picked a date and said, okay, whoever can go, can go. Yeah. And we re-upped the group chat and we're like, oh, look, back in January, we decided to stop talking about this. So we made it happen. We went out to this little sushi place up in Kennett Square. And it was all you can eat sushi, BYOB. And it was just a great time hanging out with people who we wouldn't normally go out. We'd go like hang at the fire at somebody's house or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was a nice time and something different to do, which was a lot of fun. Yeah. And we didn't take children. So, sometimes.
We love them. But sometimes really nice. It's nice to be without them.
Exactly. Nice little break.
Yeah.
So Amy, what did you do to help yourself this week?
So actually last night I had a get together with my family, which was so nice. We find any excuse to get together. So last night, I don't know, it was some Twilight thing. I don't know. So we were
Wait, like Twilight the movie?
Yes.
Excellent.
So we were going to watch the Twilight movies, which we did put the first one on, and we were playing games, and I eventually fell asleep.
Classic.
So yeah, fell asleep, missed. They kept going with the games, and I'm just right there in the middle of it sleeping, and they just kept going with the games. I don't know what we were watching from that point forward because I know we started with Twilight. I don't know where it ended because when I woke up, everybody had gone.
Oh, because typically the Amy story is I fall asleep at the start of the party and I wake up 15 minutes later and everyone's into it and I'm there.
Yeah.
No, you missed the
I
whole
come
thing.
right back, but not this time. I just went to bed.
Okay.
Apparently.
Well, you needed it and obviously felt comfortable with the company that was there.
Yeah.
Excellent. Oh, man, that's a good one.
Yeah.
So, Amy, our topic for today, actually, let's skip ahead a little bit.
Okay.
So we've been talking about a Halloween episode.
Yes.
So for all of our listeners, Eli just loved all things Halloween.
Yes.
So we're going to do a special Halloween episode where we watch a scary movie and then come together and review it and talk about it and maybe do a Halloween craft and maybe have some adult beverages. I'm not sure yet. But we have to pick what movie we're watching. And I don't like scary movies. So you're the expert here. You're the one that knows.
Well, since you don't like scary movies, my suggestion is Scream. It's a little funny, a little gory, a little bit of jump scare, but funny.
But I do know the ending. I have seen the spoilers. So I don't know. We have to think of something a little scary. I'm like, okay, I feel like I won't be as scared because I know the ending, right? Yeah. But that's the call is coming from inside the house. Is that movie?
Yeah. I mean, there's like phone calls involved, yes.
Okay. What else? We could do that. It's been a minute since I've seen the spoilers,
but to be fair, most of the horror movies, you already know the endings.
Maybe. Unless there's something newer.
Yeah.
Like I watched one of The Conjuring.
Okay.
I watched the one with there's a nun.
Yeah, it's called The Nun.
The Nun. Okay. I've seen one of those.
Yeah.
And there's a new one, right? There's a new one coming out.
Yeah.
But we don't want to do that for spoiler. I mean, is there something like... Because I got to do it with my daughter. I've got to watch it with her so that somebody can see my reactions in real time.
Yes. So I know Loretta had mentioned the new movie. What's it called? Weapons. So, yeah.
She said I'm going to cry, though. She said it's going to make you cry more than like... I'm like, oh, man.
Okay. Well, there's also Eli's favorite, Friday the 13th.
Which I was forced to watch in
you're gonna
June.
Know the ending of that one.
Gonna know that one. I don't know. I guess we'll have to think about it. So maybe if we post this before, someone can drop some suggestions in the comments.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm up for anything.
I think we should put a vote up on our Instagram.
Yeah, that would be fun.
People give us some opinions.
Yeah. Like, should we scare Erica?
How scared should we make Erica?
Yes.
Erica needs to still sleep through October is part of the problem. So if you want to really scare me, find us a zombie movie. Yes. But then I won't sleep for a little bit.
Yes.
So my trick is to watch the scary movies on mute and read the captions so I don't hear everything. And then I can usually get through them. And then once I know what happens, I can go back and watch them normally.
That's interesting. I've never heard that process before.
Because I really want to watch and see the stories.
Yeah.
I want to be part of the culture, but I want to be able to sleep.
Yeah.
The truth of life when your husband works night shift and you're stuck by yourself.
Yes, that's true.
I'm like, okay, I'm going to take all the dogs out of the crate just in case. You guys can all protect me.
Yeah. Except Jack is afraid when I'm not there. If I'm there, he's good. He feels safe.
Sure.
So I don't know what that says about me.
He's like, I need you to protect me, ma'am. Okay, so we'll pop that one up on the socials and see what we can do. And if anyone has any fun Halloween drinks that we should be trying during that, please let us know. So our topic of the day is after-death service planning. So this can include anything from funerals, memorial services, celebrations of life, any way in which you celebrate somebody who has passed. So, from my perspective, I've been to a lot of funerals. Like throughout my entire life, even my childhood, I have memories of funerals. So I would always say the number one thing to consider when planning after-death services is what that person would want, right? In an ideal world, we would all have conversations about what we want.
And we're not in an ideal world.
And we are nowhere near an ideal world. But for example, like when I was growing up, every time we went to a funeral, we would get another thing on the list of, I don't want this at my funeral. And in fact, my mother would tell us, my sister and I, okay, don't get me a casket like that. Yeah. I don't want anything pink and fluffy. And like, okay, no organ music. So we still have a running list of all the things to not do when she dies. So we know for a fact. We know what funeral home she wants and what funeral home her husband wants because they're not the same because they can't agree. And it's just one of those things that like in my family, we just talked about it. It was just death was a part of life. Like, my grandmother died when I was 3 days old. Like my dad's brother died when I was 3. And it's one of my earliest memories actually, is being at his funeral. His family is Irish Catholic. And so everybody had a church funeral. Mm-hmm. And I have a very distinct memory of being there and seeing the rosary around his hands and thinking, why is he chained up?
Right.
What's going to happen? So we wonder where my fear of zombies came from.
Yeah,
But it just was one of those things. And I actually remember another time being in the car with my mom and saying, well, if I died, what clothes would you bury me in? Because I never wore dresses as a kid. Yeah. And she actually said jeans and a t-shirt probably. Like, it wasn't a scary topic to talk about. It was just something we talked about. I don't know. What do you think, Amy?
I mean, like you said, in an ideal world, we would all know. But unfortunately, we have people that pass suddenly or young that why would you have that conversation? You know? So then you have to make choices for people, and you're hoping that you're making a choice that they would be pleased with. Yeah. So it can cause a lot of stress.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you want to honor them the best way possible. And for me, I always have felt like it should be more personal. Like when I grew up, funerals were very formal and, you know, everybody's there crying and sad. And if anybody laughed or made a joke, you know, people are looking at them like, how dare you? Yeah. You know, so I prefer when, you know, I got older and I started attending funerals outside my own family and witnessing people tell stories and get up during the funeral and share a story. And I was always fascinated with that, and just I enjoyed listening to those stories because everybody knows someone in their own way. You have different relationships with different people, so they all know you and just a little bit different. So to hear different perspectives of who that person is so fascinating, because it just shows how I guess diverse just one person can be, because you're different things to different people.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes you have to make those decisions so fast, right? Sometimes there's like a pressure to get through it.
Yeah.
And like personally, I always think kind of like the sooner the better. If you can get through the point of knowing what you want to do for that person.
Yes.
That tends to almost like help with grieving, because you get those tasks and get them off your list kind of faster. And you get to really be in that moment of remembrance and of grieving while you're still in the thick of it. Sometimes I go to funerals and it's been like 2.5 weeks. And some people have like started to kind of get through into like, okay, this is my new life. This is what and then the funeral just brings it all flooding back.
I do have to say, for me, Eli's celebration was basically 2 weeks after. But I was in such shock that I don't even know if I would have been able to process anything, like his service-wise. So I feel grateful on that end that we had to wait, because we were trying to give people time to, you know, he's a kid, you know, you want everybody that wants to be there to be able to be there. So timing wise around everybody's schedules, and it just ended up being that far. But I'm kind of grateful that it did take that long. I got time to do exactly what I wanted to do for him, where I feel like if we did it in those typical within the 3 days, I feel like it wouldn't have been so meaningful. It wouldn't have been so personal.
Yeah. And in like a traumatic event like what happened, it is like you have to get through that shock. Because you know, if you had been somebody that said like, oh, want to do it in a church, or I want to do it, you know, and you had to do something where maybe you were burying him, like that, you might have been able to do two things,
right?
Like have the service and then have something several days later. Because what I love about Eli's celebration was that, you know, you got to talk to everyone, everyone who came through, you know, you got a chance to talk to who you wanted to talk to.
Yes.
there was so many other things to do. It also wasn't just completely like, okay, everybody just look at Amy. You know,
Right.
it was because you had card games out, you
Yes.
had, you know, the plants and pictures and all
Yes.
sorts of really cool things and food. And it was all right there. And then there wasn't a transfer of locations or anything. It really was like a great little tribute. And you were able to really be, like you said, be present.
Yeah.
So, you know, some of the stuff with planning services is if you're somebody who is a doer, right? And you just jump into it and want to get these things off your list, the physical tasks can take over the emotional ones.
Yes.
You know, so sometimes it actually does cause delayed grieving where somebody doesn't grieve because they just are going through all the things that they have to do when somebody dies. And they can't actually start grieving
Right.
for quite some time. And, you know, there's a difference between the people and cultures that want to make it personal and others that don't.
Right.
You know, if we're talking about like, now, I don't claim to be an expert in any of these things, but there are some cultures where funerals are very quiet. Even
Yes.
prayers are said
Yes.
just to themselves.
Right.
And there are other times when like mourning is very out loud and very public.
Right.
And that's like, depending on what the culture is, helps kind of point in the direction of how you want to be,
Right.
how you want to make those services.
Right. And with funerals, they're more traditional and formal. So I feel like if someone is, you know, wanting more religion and tradition, you would go more in a funeral direction for that formality.
Yeah. For all of the funerals and services that I've been to, most of them are not in churches, and especially anymore. I feel like it's not as common to
Yeah.
be in a church attending a funeral as it is just at the funeral home, right? And that is nice if you can have it like have the reception nearby. Like
Right.
sometimes that makes it a little bit easier to not have to go back and forth between places.
Right.
Or if they get cremated, you can change your timeline of when you're doing things,
Right.
right? And cremation is often cheaper, you
Yeah.
know, and honestly,
Yeah.
that makes a difference. You don't have to buy a cemetery plot.
Right.
You do have to, you know, potentially buy a casket still, depending on the state that you're in and what
Right.
the laws are, but it often becomes cheaper. And then you have that symbol with you. You know, you
Yes.
have them with you. And you chose that,
Yes.
that with Eli.
Yes. And that was why, because I wanted him with me.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking to someone and they mentioned how they had a friend that passed away and they were cremated, and it was kind of hard on the friends because they didn't have a place to go to mourn this person. So I did think about that in Eli's case, but I really wanted him with me.
Yeah.
I don't know, it just felt better to me.
Well, and then that could always lead to something like tree planting, you know, or something where somebody can go.
Yeah.
You know, often building that afterwards, you know, really could lead to something even better than just going to a cemetery.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I thought that we should talk about is, you know, when you are planning a service, some of the things that you can delegate. Because a lot of times people who've lost someone don't want to be burdensome to people or may not know what they need.
Right.
So I thought it would be helpful to talk about what are some things that other people can help with, and how you can ask for that help.
So, in my case, I was extremely fortunate. I had a lot of people offer. I didn't have to ask for truly anything that I needed. Was someone asked me if they could do it for me. So it was amazing. We needed a place to have his celebration of life. The fire hall was donated to us to do that. You did an amazing setup with Eli's pictures. I just literally was having pictures printed at the Walgreens near you. You're picking them up and you're putting them on. And that's what's here with us is an example of some of them, these boards that Erica put up, and then did a whole display. It was amazing. It was truly amazing. People made food and I wanted it to be all of Eli's favorite foods. So, it was specific foods, and people came through, they made food, they bought his favorite foods, and even the people that made the food, when they got there, they helped set up the tables and put all, the plates and cups and all that stuff. They set all that up. His celebration of life was in a fire hall. There's nothing in there. But by the time people that just came, they didn't even know what to do. They just came early and like, can I help set up? And it turned into a beautiful display for Eli. It was absolutely stunning, from what we started with to what people that just walked in and was like, what can I do for you? And they just started decorating, setting up, like some of the things that I had out for display were donated. We were really lucky, that we had all that. Mm-hmm. So that was a big deal.
Yeah. Our co-producer just walked in.
Yeah.
Our tech producer.
Yeah, and I'm trying to tell him, shh. So sorry for the weird hand gestures.
But and that's a great example of something that can be easily delegated. Mm-hmm. At least like thinking through, if somebody's offers is what can I do? Mm-hmm. Even just saying, can you plan to stay late and help clean up?
Yes.
Like that's a huge deal, because by the end we still had a great core group of people at Eli's celebration who just were helping us put things on wagons and getting things to cars, and just having more hands was so helpful.
Yes.
But some people, when they're in planning mode, don't think through, I'm going to have to clean this up and get this back in my car. And then you're doing it yourself, right? With maybe just like 2 or 3 of you.
Right.
So that's a great thing for people to keep in mind about what they're delegating.
Yes.
I put up a reel on social media about the picture piece. Mm-hmm. Sometimes picking out what pictures to display can really weigh on somebody.
Yes.
Especially if you're going through these pictures for the first time in a long time after you've just lost them. Mm-hmm. And giving that to somebody else where they can take an outsider's perspective and be able to do different things with them, might be something that helps, unless you're the person who needs to be the one doing it. But that was something where it was like, I was so happy to be able to do something physical to help get ready and know this is going to be meaningful.
Yes. And it was. It made an impact, not just for me, but for everybody that came, because it was such a great example of his life, just his experiences and just watching him grow up, and just him being him, and some of like funny pictures and pictures with him and Hannah and us as a family and on adventures. So it was nice to see all that. And so everybody could see all of who he was.
And we had his guitar out, we had some of his artwork out, some of his t-shirts, like it really, like taking the time to, and having somebody to think like, hey, do you have this that you can bring? Just bring it and I'll take care of it. Like no problem.
Yes. And because I had so many people helping me, I was able to think through, what do I want? What do I want everybody to see with Eli? And I was able to go in the attic and pick out a few of his toys from when he was little that he took everywhere, and go through his artwork and figure out what to bring to display for people. Because a lot of people didn't even know that Eli drew, or that he, drew so well. So that was a surprise to a lot of people. Yeah. And then you had made a board with different albums from his playlist. And that was something else that we did. Jack had made a QR code for his playlist, and we had it at each table so everybody could scan it and download his playlist, which is an amazing playlist.
Yeah. And it was playing too. You didn't just stick to, let's keep it quiet, let's keep it soft. No, we were playing Eli's songs. It was Eli's playlist.
Yes. Yeah. It's a really good playlist.
And it's long. So you don't have to worry about, am I going to start repeating songs? No, you're not repeating songs on that playlist. No. So I definitely asking somebody to bring tissues if you're at an outside place. Funeral homes will always have them, but bringing tissues, just making sure someone gets plates, making sure someone gets ice.
Yes.
I remember driving there that day and thinking, oh, shoot, do we need ice?
Yeah.
Do I need to get more ice?
Yeah.
What do we have? So those types of things that like having somebody outside of the main family planning it, thinking through all the little things you might need.
And I think helping for a service, funeral, people jump on the opportunity to help. So I think we're afraid to ask, but everybody's just waiting for their chance to do something. And this is something that they can do. So I feel like everybody was very happy to help.
Yeah. Yeah. Our producer's walking out.
Yeah.
You guys are recording.
Yes. Yes, we know.
We're recording. So I wrote down some different fun experiences that I've had in the world of after death services that I just thought would be fun to share. And so
I'm anxious to hear.
I only wrote down a couple. But my absolute favorite thing when I have to go to a service, whether it's a funeral or a memorial or whatever it is when they tell me what to wear. Absolute favorite. It takes all the pressure off. And I know for a fact that what I'm going in is okay. Whether it's like I've been to a funeral where they said, we want everyone to wear pink.
Yeah.
Everyone want be in pink. Even a little bit of pink is what we want. I've had where we want you to wear jeans and Eagles gear, right? Like they were a fan and that's what they would have wanted was you guys out there like a tailgate. I was at a funeral for a young child and the parents said, we want everyone in blue jeans and bright colors because he loved to color and he loved drawing and coloring in different colors. And they actually had, and I'll never forget this, crayons, like real Crayola crayons, and they made them into pins and they handed them out when you came in. So you put on your crayon pin, and I still have my pin from that service. I loved that so much. It was just so him, but yeah, always tell me what to wear because I'm going to be asking anyway.
Right.
So it's just easier if you say, because you guys were like, we want you to wear your
band
horror or a band. I'm wearing the shirt that I wore.
I'm wearing the shirt I wore.
And I just loved that, even though I didn't have one and I panicked for a minute, but I found something and it was great.
Yeah.
And now
it was
I wear
appropriate.
it. Yeah, it was
'Cause
totally.
he loved Pink Floyd.
And even though, I grew up going to religious funerals, my kids haven't. So one of the first times that my children saw a Holy Communion was at a great grandmother's funeral.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Because it was a full church service, right?
Yeah.
So it's like an hour and something long, and there's songs and there's hymn, there's reading verses and whatever. And when it started, they were like, what's going on? And I'm like, oh, it's communion. So, this is what they talk about and this is what you do. And you go up and they're like, can we go? I'm like, you may not. No, you may not. And they're like, can you go? I'm like, technically, yes. I've been through all of the steps. I can do all of that. And they're like, will you? And I'm like, well, I wasn't going to. And they're like, please. And I'm like, fine. Just watch me sit here and watch.
Yeah.
And so I literally went up, did it, and brought the communion wafer back so they could see it because they were like so excited to learn about this thing. But they were like, and then they did the incense over the casket, and they're like, why are they burning things over her? And I'm like, no, let's talk about that too.
Yeah.
It was like a great little learning experience for that.
Aww.
Like, oh, so you never know. You never know what's going to bond you with your family. But those are always, those things that you remember that come out of these, terrible times in people's lives. But it's also like, it's still life and, you're still doing things and learning things. I also always recommend, this can go back to delegation actually, that if you're having like a reception at your house, to make sure you have people, if you're not having like the service there, having some people at the house during the service, because they can start cleaning up, or if people come early and they beat you there, or hey, can you start pulling this food out at this time?
Right.
Like having somebody physically in your house or in the house where you're having people back is huge. And anytime we've asked somebody to do that, they've always been happy to help with that.
Oh, yeah.
That's like a big thing that people are like, yeah, absolutely. I'll do that. Tell me what you need, exactly what you want. I remember, I don't remember which parent it was, but one of my parents once told us, you should always have someone at your house when you go to a funeral, if it's someone in your family, because people read the newspaper and see when funerals are, and they'll go rob your house because they know everyone's going to be at the funeral. So always have somebody sitting there.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a real thing,
Yeah.
but I suppose it could have been at some point. I don't know.
I guess it's the equivalent of putting your vacation on Facebook now.
I guess so, yeah. I don't know. You ever heard of that?
I have not, but I'm not saying that's not a thing.
Maybe in like the 60s or
Yeah.
50s it was.
Yeah.
How about you? What else do you have?
So I chose a celebration of life for Eli because I just felt like it represented him better. Plus I wanted to personalize it. Like I said, I just wanted the opportunity for everybody to see everything about Eli. He was an amazing kid. And, I remember getting ready for it and being very emotional as I'm getting it together because I said this will be the last thing that I'll ever get to do for Eli. And I'm fortunate that that is not the case, but in that moment it felt like this is the last time. So I wanted to do it the best way I could for him. I was hoping it would be something that he'd be like, this is pretty good. You did a good job. But, I wanted to make sure we had all of his favorite foods and listening to his music, and his pictures were going. We had a slideshow going, and you had made that beautiful display, and, it got people talking about him. We had Uno decks on each table because he loved Uno, and people stayed. Some of them stayed the entire time. We had the firehouse for hours, and we just wanted it to be very informal. People could come and go as they pleased. And there were tables that stayed and they played hand after hand of Uno. It was awesome. And I left notebooks out so people could share stories about Eli. That was an amazing experience too. And admittedly, it's taken me up until last month to be able to open those. I hadn't read them prior to about a month ago. It took me a little bit to get there, but it was like a nice surprise to be able to read it. So I do recommend that. That is one thing I really recommend, is allowing people the opportunity to share stories.
And kind of forcing their hand at it. Because
Yeah.
they have to sit and think a little bit about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the Uno decks because so often you go to these things and it's very social, right? A celebration of life. People are talking, people are moving around, and some people just aren't ready to talk, and it gives them something to do that's like, I can be distracted just enough, but I know where I am.
Right.
And I'm still here and involved, but I don't have to be social. Like having events, places where there's other things to do is always a good idea, because you never know who's introverted or who might need a minute, right? Yeah. I loved that.
Absolutely.
And you had gorgeous succulents.
Yes.
And seeds.
I had a friend, she made up, it was 60 succulents, and she had made up an individual succulent plant for people to take. And I had it written down what it said. It was so sweet. Where did I put it?
I think I have a picture. Yeah, because it was a nice little tribute.
It was.
Because you had this, while you look, you had the succulents, and you had the seed packets, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the succulent said, "Love will continue to grow even after our goodbye." And the wildflower seed packet said, "Where there is music, there is love. The song has ended, but the melody lives on." And then I had guitar picks, and you had made up a sign that said to take a pick and to continue the music. So we had a few things that people could take so they physically had something. And
I think everything got taken.
Yeah,
I don't think
did.
there was
It
anything
did.
left at the end.
And we also had our Gift of Life stuff. They had sent a book, which is a beautiful book, about passing and where am I now kind of story. It was really nice. And they had given us these green bracelets for a Gift of Life, and everybody took those. We had pins. People took all of that. So it was nice because they have something. So when they look at it, they think of Eli. And I do get pictures of those succulents growing and the wildflowers growing. It's awesome. I love it. I love getting the pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, because I remember you saying that it was the last thing you would do for Eli. And I remember saying, no,
Yeah.
you're not done.
Yeah.
It's really hard to parent a child who's gone, but you're still doing it. It's like the hardest thing there is how do I continue parenting when they're not here? But look at all this.
Yeah. I know. That's what's so funny is I thought this is it.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And that's, I feel like a lot of people feel that way, right? It's just, okay, when the event is over, then life goes on. And that is kind of like yes and no, because life goes on, but it's not what it was.
Right.
It doesn't mean you forget and they're just gone from your life.
Right.
Because they're still there. The aftermath of the services often is the hardest part because everyone's around, everyone's there.
Yes.
And then it's over. And it's like I think we went back to your house after Eli's celebration. There was like 6 of us there.
Yeah.
We were hanging out and I was
Yeah.
like, what are we putting away? What are we putting away? And then it's like, I remember saying like, okay, so in 2 weeks I'm coming back and we're going out.
Yeah.
Like making sure that there was something planned to do.
Yeah.
So you had your time, but you knew that there was something coming up that was something to look forward to and something to think about and plan. Because so many times people are just left to go back to their lives.
Yeah. Which I was very grateful for the people that came back. I am so grateful because it's so much, it's so heavy. It's such a heavy thing when it's all done and you're just left with it alone and it's like all over. And it was nice to have the little buffer of going through that, coming home and settling in to being home. And this is life. And the event that I've been busy and distracted planning is now over. So now I'm just sitting in it.
Yeah. It's that forced, exhale of now what?
Yeah.
Right? So, did you have any more stories you wanted to share?
I actually, if you're okay, I was going to share what I read at Eli's service. And what you wrote was beautiful. You had shared a lot of beautiful things, not just about Eli, but just in life and death in general. It was really well done. But I just wanted to share I just feel like it describes Eli even a little bit more than our last episode. Excuse me. First and foremost, I would like to thank everyone today for joining us in celebrating Eli's life. We welcome you to stay and eat some of his favorite foods, have a Coke, enjoy his music, and play a game or two. I do know he would not want any of this attention. He was very low key. We are truly grateful to everyone that helped bring this day together. To know Eli was to love him. From the moment he was born, he brought so much joy to everyone he met. He was a very easy, happy baby and happiest when he was being held, and I was always happy to hold him. As he grew up, he became a gentle, kind soul that loved animals and babies. He held the door for me and would run ahead to hold the door for others. He had the best smile and the kind of laugh that would make you laugh along with him. Eli was always the smartest and funniest person in every room. The relationship between Eli and Hannah was always very special. They behaved more like twins. It was an extremely rare occurrence for them to disagree. They understood each other in a way no one else could. Eli always looked out for Hannah, speaking for her when she wasn't able. Hannah's always giving good advice and observations. She was just as honest with Eli as she is with everyone else. One of our favorite Hannah and Eli dinner time exchanges pretty much sums them up. Eli mentioned that he misinterpreted something due to being autistic. Hannah, sitting across the table from him, looks up from her plate and said, "Oh, please, you just found out you're autistic. I've been autistic my whole life." The three of us started laughing, and Hannah said, "What? It's true." This was just a normal banter between the two of them. Octobers were filled with horror movie marathons. We watched a horror movie every single night of October. Sometimes we would just keep going into November. Eli would search for the most obscure movies to watch, his favorites being 70s and 80s horror. We'll keep that tradition going, Eli. Eli spent most of his days listening to music. He loved music and started playing guitar, a pastime that allowed Jack to bond with him as they enjoyed playing together. Eli also enjoyed exploring. Our adventures will forever have a bit of sadness now without him. He found joy in scaring me as he climbed rocks, jumped gaps on our quest to find a waterfall in his Vans. He was always wearing his Vans. The last 4 years have been difficult for Eli. I wasn't ready for him to leave. There was so much I wanted for him. While I suffer with what ifs and could have beens, I do believe that my baby is finally at peace, which is what gets me through. Eli is more than the end of his story. He was a brilliant, funny, talented person that made a lasting impression on everyone that met him. Eli lives on through his donations to Gift of Life. And this is when we were doing the Donor Dash. So I was just explaining what the Donor Dash is. And then I asked everyone to stay to play a few games of Uno, download his playlist, share memories in those notebooks, take a packet of seeds and plant them, take a succulent to remind you of Eli. Don't stop talking about him. Keep saying his name.
Still just as hard.
It is. It is.
I remember writing what I was going to say, and it took me so long because for anyone obviously who doesn't know, I was helping with the celebration and said, how about I say something and intro you? And I ended up talking way more than I probably needed to.
No, what you said was perfect.
But when I write things, when I'm speaking, a lot of times I have to find the right music. And it just took me a long time to find the right song that was going to get me through it. And I was actually in the car and this song came on and I started thinking and I started to give phrases and then I started thinking of sentences and I said, I need to write this down really quick. And I have my calendar and it happened to have a few scrap pages in it. And I just grabbed a pen and grabbed the calendar and I'm driving and I'm like not looking and I'm just writing and writing and writing.
So funny.
And I took a picture of it afterwards. I'm like, well, I think I remember what I wrote. I hope I can find it in me to figure this one out. But I remember sharing it on social media and I think I wrote only part of it, but I would share that. Because what I said, one of the most tragic experiences in human existence is outliving your child. When we find ourselves struggling to grasp the reality of this loss as life moves on, the world still spins. We often feel lost ourselves. When the most horrific fact is true, and as hard as we try, we can't turn back time and change it. We have to hold on to the life they had. Even as it hurts deep within our soul, we can celebrate the life they lived. We hold on to every minute, every second, every joyful smile and birthday candle blown out. We celebrate the love they showed us that lived within us, but we didn't know was possible until they were here. We celebrate, we remember, we keep moving. Between all of this, between the tears and laughter, lies the silence, ever present and ever changing, but always vast and haunting. There's silence left where he should be standing. If you or someone you know is struggling or considering suicide, please reach out and ask for help. Know you are loved and needed. That was a synopsis of what I had said.
Yeah. And it's still as powerful as the first time you said it.
And it's so hard to describe the feeling of losing a child. And that's kind of how it is when you think about the vastness of it and how little others may not be able to grasp and understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's our timing, Jack? So I think with that, thank you to everyone for listening. In closing, we hope we helped a few of you feel more validated, more heard and seen. If you're supporting someone who's lost a child, please remember to say their name, talk about them, remember them. And as always, we are here because of Eli. At the end of each episode, we'd like to provide a resource. Amy, what's today's resource?
So today our resource is Starting Point. It's a nonprofit organization working with those struggling with their mental health or addiction. They were founded in 1977 with just 6 people and $40 in their account. They began their journey to help others in Philly and eventually moving over into New Jersey. Their vision is a world where no one dies because they couldn't find help for mental health and addiction challenges. They provide mental health education, support groups, therapy and coaching, employee wellness programs, and a resource center for individuals and families seeking compassionate support. If you're interested in learning more, you can find them on their website, Facebook, or YouTube. And again, that's Starting Point of New Jersey. They also have a fundraiser coming up November 1st, 2025. It's a 5K run walk. This resource was mentioned to me by someone that has used their services, and they described it as a lifeline. After researching this organization, it gives me hope that maybe Eric and I can make an impact one day. Starting Point started with little money and an idea, and here they are helping so many people. Thank you for joining us. If you have suggestions or stories and you'd like to share them, please reach out to us. And until next time, be good to yourself. Take each day as it comes. Some days are easier than others. If all you do today is survive, that's enough. This was for Eli and every name you're still whispering.